the Adansi area in Ashanti region. Government regrets to announce the demise of the following persons in the tragic crash. Dr. Edward Kofi Omane Boamah, Minister for Defense. Alhaji Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, MP, Minister for Environment, Science and Technology. Alhaji Murtala Mohammed Lemonad, Acting Deputy National Security Coordinator and former Minister for Food and Agriculture. Dr. Samuel Sapon, Vice Chairman of the National Democratic Congress, and Mr. Samuel Abuaji, a former parliamentary candidate. Squadron Leader Peter Bafemi Anala, Flying Officer Manin Chum Ampedu, and Sergeant Ernest Ado Mensah. The President and government extends our condolences and sympathies to the families of our comrades and the servicemen who died in service to the country. All flags are to fly at half-mast until further notice. Thank you. Manin Chum Kwajiman, who is with us here, and the government of Ghana. I have the unpleasant duty, sadly, to announce a national tragedy involving the crash of a military helicopter this morning around the Adansi area in Ashanti region. Government regrets to announce the demise of the following persons in the tragic crash. Dr. Edward Kofi Omane Boamah, Minister for Defense. Alhaji Dr. Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, MP, Minister for Environment, Science and Technology. Alhaji Murtala Mohammed Lemonad, Acting Deputy National Security Coordinator and former Minister for Food and Agriculture. Dr. Samuel Sapon, Vice Chairman of the National Democratic Congress, and Mr. Samuel Abuaji, a former parliamentary candidate. Squadron Leader Peter Bafemi Anala, Flying Officer Manin Chum Ampedu, and Sergeant Ernest Ado Mensah. And government extends our condolences and sympathies to the families of our comrades and the servicemen who died in service to the country. All flags are to fly at half-mast until further notice. Thank you.
Is the Chief of Staff a short while back confirming the tragic news. Something we've been fearing all afternoon, the death of the Defense Minister, Omane Boamah, and the Environment Minister, Murtala Mohammed. Both gentlemen together with 6 others have died from the helicopter crash at Adansi. We'll be just been showing you the site of this particular crash. This is indeed a very tragic day in our republic. And I've done this job for 21 years. The only time I have felt the way I'm feeling right now is the 24th July, 2012, when the sitting vice president died. I remember where I was. You do not forget incidents such as this. I remember where I was when the statement came in from the Flagstaff House at the time, confirming the death. If you're just joining us, in a short while back, the Chief of Staff just confirming to us the death of Omane Boamah, the demise of Omane Boamah, and also we also know that the Environment Minister was also on board. He's also dead, confirmed. And a host of other very
Dr. Samuel Sapon, former KMA mayor, and until his demise was the vice chair of the NDC, a very known NDC figure in the Ashanti region. Also, he also passed on. And then the NDC parliamentary candidate in the Obuasi West constituency in the last election, Samuel Abuaji, also was among the dead. And of course, the Deputy National Security Coordinator, we are told, was also on this particular flight. Murtala Mohammed, as you may be aware, is also the Member of Parliament for Tamale North constituency. Until today was the Environment Science Minister, before he once served as Deputy Trade Minister the Mahama first administration. So these are, people who have who would describe as the were key individuals of the NDC. Dr. Omane Boamah, for example, the last election he served as director of elections for the NDC, a very close ally of President John Mahama, and
it was just a few hours, a few days back. Indeed, I was chatting him. We'll talk about it. I want to go to Maxwell now, our presidential correspondent, who is joining us now from Jubilee House. Maxwell, let's go over what we've learned from the Chief of Staff.
Yes, Evans, indeed, that confirmation came from the Chief of Staff here at the presidency just some minutes ago. Let me say that it was a moment that many people feared. It was a confirmation that a lot of people were waiting for news about, this plane crash. They were hoping that there would be a confirmation that it never happened, at all. But unfortunately, the sad confirmation about this plane crash has just been given by the Chief of Staff, Julius Zebra. And indeed, in the auditorium where the announcements, took place, you could actually cut the emotions in the room there with a knife. We had some of the top officials of government, all of them present during that announcement. I spotted Education Minister Haruna Idrisu, and at the time that he was introducing or telling us what the press conference was going to be about, you could hear his voice shake even when, he did the announcement. And indeed, it's a steady stream of people pouring in here at the Jubilee House right now. You can see in a shot right now going is the chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Jensen Nesiedu Nketia, who's just arrived here at the Jubilee House. It's a moment of mourning for everybody here at the presidency. I can see Presidential Special Aide Joyce Bawa Muktari also arriving here. Uncontrollable tears here at the Jubilee House. And even before that briefing by the Chief of Staff, you could see the moment of grief on the faces of everyone present in the auditorium. Present there, we had the Vice President, who was also there in the room. We had Al-Hassan Suhini, ministers like Al-Hassan Suhini was also present, Education Minister, like I mentioned, Haruna Idrisu was also present in the room. Government Communications Minister Felix Kwachufus was also present in that room. He was not the one who did the announcement. We had the Chief of Staff in charge of Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of operations, Stan Dogbe, also there, in that auditorium. So really, when you come here to the Jubilee House, it's a moment of grief. Just hours before we received that confirmation, we saw people moving around on their phone, but you just couldn't tell what exactly was happening. So first, it was the rumors, that started swelling here at the presidency, with nobody willing, to confirm what had happened. So although we were here present here at the Jubilee House at the time when the announcement of the plane crash had happened, some media houses, especially for colleagues who were in the regions, announcing that there was a plane crash. There were colleagues here at the presidency who were part of the presidential press corps who did not have an idea whatsoever about what had happened. So we were together in the media briefing room when the calls started trickling in from our various newsrooms, calling to confirm the information from us. Indeed, earlier today, we had the Government Accountability Series, and the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Emilia Atta, was the one who addressed that press conference. So the usual routine was for members of the Presidential Press Corps to sit in the media briefing room within their workspaces to work on the audios and videos, to work on the story for publication by their various media houses. But that routine did not continue today. In fact, there was a pool that was supposed to travel together with the president to the central region. So the president was scheduled for 2 events, had two events today. The National Vaccine Investment Forum, and then which happened at 10 a.m. at the Kempinski Hotel, and then an event at 2 p.m. which is going to take place in the Central Region. It was an event being organized by the Assemblies of God Church in the Central Region, and the president was expected to be there at 2 p.m. But this is what happened. So just minutes before the team of pressmen, the Presidential Press Corps, moved from the Jubilee House to take the lead to that event, we got the information that that event had been cancelled. That 2 p.m. event that the president was supposed to be present there had been, cancelled. So it was at this point that the news started trickling in. A lot of people getting to know that indeed a plane crash had happened, and some ministers were actually on board, with some of them feared dead.
And Maxwell,
but now indeed we've had the confirmation from the chief of staff.
And Maxwell, I know you've also been told a few more things about whether or not the president was also scheduled to be on this particular helicopter to this same event in Obuasi. What more do you know about that?
Question again.
Hello, Maxwell. And I know I can see in your shot there a few more, senior members, either of government or the party, coming to Jubilee House. But I want to quite quickly find out from you, earlier when we were speaking, on the flyer communicating the dignitaries who were expected to be present at the event in Obuasi, the president was himself billed to be there. Have you gathered any additional information whether or not he was also billed to be on this helicopter with the now deceased defense minister and environment minister?
Well, what we've been picking from deep throat sources here at the presidency is that usually when there is an event like that, the president, would have a schedule, and he would have a schedule on whether he will be present, or not. A deep throat source that I've been speaking to seems to suggest that there was a clash. There was a clash of events. That is the 2 p.m. event that I talked about that the president was supposed to be at. That is the Assemblies of God, pastors and pastors' wives of the Assemblies of God Church. That event was supposed to take place in the Central Region. So that deep throat source that I've been speaking to tells me that, so there was a clash of shadows. That's what that source is telling me. And that source says that, but for that clash, perhaps the president, would have been at the Obuasi, event as well. That is the mining event that was taking place in the Ashanti region. Of course, we've heard the president many times demonstrating his commitment to saying that he's committed to the fight against illegal mining. And indeed, this is an issue that is very dear to his heart. So that deep throat source tells us that, but for that clash of shadows, the president would have been at that event at the Ashanti region. And indeed, a confirmation that we got from that was his picture on that flyer. And I'm sure many have seen that flyer making rounds, on social media. So, but for that event, in the Central Region, that is the church event in the Central Region, this source suggests to us that the president would have, taken off, to the Ashanti region for that mining event at Obuasi. Once again, this is information we are gathering from our sources here at the presidency, Evans. But you mentioned that those you saw in the shot earlier, so it was the Sports and Recreation Minister. He was the one working with the Fisheries and Aquaculture Development Minister. He was consoling her. The minister, just about 3 hours ago, took her turn here at the Government Accountability Series, but she's had to return here to the presidency because of this sad event that is, that we just received confirmation on. Now, if you move about 100 meters away from where I'm standing, there's a meeting ongoing between top government officials. So the chief of staff is.
Well, I forget somebody go there.
The vice president is also in that. Meeting. The military high command is also present. In fact, we saw the chief of defense staff was actually in the auditorium during the announcement of the death and the confirmation of the aircraft. So there's a meeting, going on just about 100 meters away from where I'm standing. All the ministers, all the top government officials who came for the announcement by the chief of staff are still in that meeting. And already I've seen some flags here at the presidency flying at half-mast as directed by the chief of staff, Julius Deborah.
And Maxwell, thank you. Maxwell, you stay with us throughout this because, as we know, that is a seat of government. The Commander-in-Chief himself, we know, is there. Flags are flying at half-mast tonight. And because the Commander-in-Chief is expected that sometime later today we may hear from him himself. And whilst Maxwell stays with us, you also see on your screens our team of reporters now are in the Sikaman community. That is a community where the helicopter crashed, and that's what you see there. My colleague Bright is there for us. We'll be getting more first-hand accounts of what really happened with this helicopter that went down, leading to the death of the Defense Minister, Dr. Omane Boamah, Murtala Mohammed, who is Environment Minister, and six others.